Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And the only thing juicier than this burger is my ass.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
Remington, it's Pride Month.
It is. It is still Pride Month. As you have checked your calendar, you've noticed one extra day there that you didn't account for. For many, I think that's a cause for celebration. And yet you've just seemed a little extra stressed this week.
Little bit. Because, Rem, by the time I realized, man, was it a bit late. One might say too late. Especially since over half the month was gone by that point. But hey, look, sometimes you plan perfectly and then you forget to carry one number and you're like, oh, fuck, that's how months work. So this week, there's gonna be some stretching. There's gonna be... Ram, tell me something. What is one of the best things you could have in Pride Month?
The support of your loved ones.
Correct. And you know what's better? One of the best ways to support your loved ones, Rem?
How?
By climbing into a tank with them and battling it out with other people in tanks.
Damn it! You're doing the Nazi tank anime.
It's not a Nazi tank anime. Remington, just because it uses the German word for "and" does not automatically make it Nazis.
Okay, if you go to someone and you're like, "Hey, Shaun Rollins, that guy, he is very fascinated with German tanks, you know. They're gonna make some assumptions.
Don't automatically turn it back on me. All I'm saying.
I'm sorry. Would you be concerned that they might make such assumptions? Is that like reasonable that some people it's conceivable that people might do that?
But Remington, this is just a show about girls in tanks fighting it out. Why do you gotta bring the Nazis into it?
We'll see.
What do you mean we'll see?
What do you mean?
And I mean, just because they happen to only be using World War II era tanks doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, you're making your case. You're making my case better than I am at this point.
Look, Remington, it's Pride Month. Let's put them lesbians in tanks and let them sort things out, you know?
It's Pride Month. Even queer people can be Nazis.
What I'm saying.
I guess it's true. I guess that's right. I just didn't think that it would have to be discussed. I didn't think. But okay, all right, here we are.
God damn it, Remington. Look, it's just cute girls doing cute things with tanks, right? There are no Nazis here.
The best thing about this is that I know that every moment of arguing about this is cutting into time where you desperately need to leave right now. And yes. you can't let it go undefended. But at the same time, you can't dedicate a lot of time to addressing my point.
I've been streaming muted for 5 minutes now, Rem.
Like, you're doing this mid-stream.
They can't hear me, but look, man, I gotta do something. I gotta do something. I am crossing streams. Rem, there's not much complexity to this, Rem. It's Pride Month. We've got some cute girls. They're working together in groups of 5 in tanks to compete in a quote-unquote traditional sport called Senshado. All right? And it's, it's an art, and it's definitely not a problematic anime whatsoever. Definitely not from 2012. It's cute girls in tanks.
The dark times.
Cute girls in tanks. No Nazis to be found. It's Pride Month. There's probably some like Yuri stuff going on in the background.
Probably. Wait, it's not even a gay tank anime?
I mean, there's implications.
God damn it, Shaun!
I didn't have time. I fucked up. I was so proud of myself. I had 4 wonderfully different Pride-themed anime planned for this month, but I was a dumbass and forgot that if the first Saturday of the month is the first of the month, then that means there are 5 Saturdays. I forgot. I forgot that's how fucking calendars worked. Damn you, Julius Caesar. I blame you. The point is, Rem, you just gotta, let's just assume for now, okay?
All right,
Let's put some lesbians in tanks and hope for the best. That's what we're doing.
Sure.
I'm sure there's plenty of Girls und Panzer lesbian fanfiction out there. Headcanons are powerful. It has apparently 3+ seasons, so surely it's for somebody. But that's besides the point, Rem. Without further ado, let's go straight to it. Let's go watch Girls und Panzer. And we are back after watching 4 whole episodes of the 2012 anime Girls und Panzer. And Remington, wasn't this just a fine example of lesbian sportsmanship and completely planned for Pride?
Yeah, 100%. Real, very, very fitting.
Yeah. You know, you can't fault a great plan in action, you know?
Jesus Christ. Hey, Shaun, I want to start this half of the episode with a fun fact.
Oh dear. Okay.
Why do you say oh dear? You don't like learning?
Well, Rem, the problem with most of your quote-unquote fun facts is they usually make me very sad. The amount of times you're like, hey, fun fact, a lot of people died at this point in time. And I'm like, oh, that's not very fun.
Okay.
I suppose it is a fact, but it is.
Well, okay, this isn't a grim history fact, okay?
Okay.
It's a fact about right now. Shaun, did you know there's around 300,000 child soldiers in the world today?
Hey, Rem.
Well, I figured that would be interesting information, considering both last week and this week, there has been a strong emphasis on child soldiers.
Yeah, I suppose you could say that. But Rem, this anime is not about soldiers; it's about sports. Just sports with tanks. That's the difference.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think everybody can agree with that. It's like, all right, kids, now we're gonna be playing a fun little game of Hunger Games. So grab your knives. Let's see who's gonna get there first. Oh, you got a gun. All right, you got a good advantage. Or I guess since we're going Japanese, let's go OG with Battle Royale, you know? Hey, it's just a fun little game. They do repeatedly emphasize that their lives would be in danger, but it's just a fun little game.
I mean, they don't actually die, so, you know, it's...
They don't,
it's
but
fine.
They do spend a weird amount of time mentioning that they could.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they make it clear, like, your head peeking out, you could be blasted by a tank and fucking die. Which, you think they would try to be like, oh, these aren't, like, real tank rounds, they're not gonna hurt anybody, or whatever, right? It's laser tag rules or something. No, they're like, oh yeah, don't do that. But yeah, I just thought there seems to be a trend. You're transitioning away from LGBTQ+, and you're transitioning into child soldiers. Last week was the middle ground, and now you've chosen a side, which, you know, hey, it's a bold choice, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, you cannot accuse me of it. It's supposed to be a silly sports show, right?
Yeah, of course.
And I don't know if you've noticed, but in most sports anime, they always treat everything like the life or death scenario.
You know what? That reminds me of my favorite 2012 sports comedy. It was Kony 2012. It was a lovely little...
No, you can't. No, I don't think you can make that joke, Ram. Christ!
I'm sorry, am I misunderstanding something?
It's just a silly show about girls with tanks. You don't need to politicize it, okay?
You know, I
A
didn't.
lot of people are like, hey, let's have a fun little silly tank girl show, you know? It's Pride adjacent, it works. I desperately say to save myself from forgetting there are 5 Saturdays this month.
I didn't feel like child soldiers are, too politicized. I feel like that's more just like the vast majority of people are very on one side. But hey, if you think there's different opinions, that's fine. Let's talk about the show, Shaun.
God damn it, Remington. Every time you do this, they add another horrible title to me. And someday it's gonna leave our sphere and people are gonna be like, wow, that Shaun guy was a real piece of shit.
Hey, if we ever get popular enough for our in-jokes to leave our sphere, that's success as far as I'm concerned. It may ruin your life and reputation, but man, number go up, so it's all okay.
Rem, I just don't need you to be my 13th reason.
So we open up with a very bold choice by the anime, where we get tank CGI POV.
Yeah. 2012 was rough.
It does. A lot of thought and effort went into the sequence. I think some people could get motion sickness from it because it is just awkward tank POV. It's like if you went to an arcade like 20 years ago, right? Maybe a little bit more, maybe like 25 years ago, and you were playing a tank game that for some reason was first person. This is what it would be. This is what it would look like. Just kind of jank. But hey, I can appreciate bold decisions even if I don't think they're good. We then cut backwards. We meet our protagonist. She goes to a new school. She gets some friends there. That school is bringing back the sport of battling tanks, which it emphasizes. Hey, this is a very feminine sport. All right, and
yes.
And here's the weird thing. It's a little joke, just being like, in this world, military tanks. Whereas in ours, it is often seen as a masculine pursuit. In this one, it's seen as a very feminine pursuit, right? Pretty straightforward, standard stuff. But then they don't even follow through with the joke. Because then we get to episode 4, and one of the girls is disowned by her flower maker mother for wanting to do tanks, and it's just too brutal and big. And it's like, why? You were like, we're gonna play around with gender roles and flip them on their head, but also weirdly reinforce those later on. What? And it's not me just being like, world building inconsistency, how dare you? That's a bit highbrow for what this is aiming towards. It's just you're making your joke worse. You're making your subversion worse because you're not committing to the bit. And so that's a little bit disappointing. But yeah, they start the club up and there's some old tanks. And so episode 2, they look for some more tanks. They fix them up, clean them up, and then they start a little simulated battle, and nobody knows what they're doing. All the girls are confused and uncertain. And there's a crew for each different tank. Each different tank ends up being designed in a different way, and there's less like individual personalities, and there's more vague crew identities. And so they have a simulated battle, and the main crew, they win. Look at them go. Even though the main girl, she has like backstory. She's amazing with tanks. Her family line is all about tanks, but she didn't want to do tanks, but she was very easily convinced to do tanks. And then they challenge a different school, and they give a good fight, but they are just rookies, and so they barely lose. And those are the 4 episodes. I very quickly summarized.
Yeah, that is quite. I was like, when you started, I was like, okay. Oh no, he's just doing them all. He's just doing them all in one go.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of meat on this plate.
What do you mean? It's got girls and tanks and combat like that. Plenty of meat.
Like, it's not like I'm like, oh yes, each character has such a fascinating story. No, they're pretty one-dimensional. And some get a whole second dimension. It's very impressive. But none of them are wildly fleshed out. It just, hey, look, some generally cute girls doing some cute things, and also more fan service than you would expect given the art style that I would say makes them look very young most of the time. Thankfully, it's not a ton. Still more than I'm comfortable with.
I feel like any is more than you're comfortable with.
Sure, but it's just like exacerbated by how they draw and animate the girls.
It is a very like late 2000s, early 2010s anime style.
Yeah,
which like it's got those whatchamacallit, those old school visual novel style looks to it.
Yeah, it's like a really good DeviantArt artist.
Oh Christ.
I said really good.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there's just not a lot of meat here. There's not a ton of substance. You're here because you're like cute girls and tanks, which is a fun novelty. All right, it's a fun little novelty. A nice different take on sports anime generally. The issue is I don't think it does enough. It's not a fun enough gimmick to last this far on its own, just being like, cute girls and tanks, get it? It's like, maybe an episode, or maybe if it was like short form, then you could really sustain it. But being long form through an entire series, the gimmick runs old. Okay, but that's fine, because ideally you like catch them with the gimmick, right? But then you keep them with the substance. That's usually how most things go. But there's not really a lot of substance here. So it's a Twinkie. It's just kind of, it's there. It's a little cupcake. Neat, but like, I'll have one be like, oh, that was nice. And then if you're like, do you want 11 more? I'll be like, I don't know. That might be quite excessive. I think I would like some variety.
What? So you're telling me it would shock you to find out that not only is there a second little season after this, but also they're in the process of releasing a six-part movie franchise that has been slowly releasing over the past like 6 years.
6-part movie franchise? What the fuck? The movie 6-part movie franchise does surprise me a bit. The general idea of it continuing far longer than I think is justified, that doesn't surprise me. Weebs don't have standards. We've discussed this at length. I don't think it's actively bad by any means. It's also not great. It's a fun novelty, and then it just keeps being that. And it like if your friend shows up, right, and say he's got a button or a pin or a badge, right, on his jacket, and it's a little joke on it, right, a little funny pun perhaps. And when you see him, he shows it, you're like, that I see, that's funny, that's enjoyable. And now imagine if every time you saw him, he was like, the badge. And you're like, yeah, no, I got you. Maybe you'll give a laugh the second time, more so out of just, pity. The third time and onward, you begin to wonder, is my friend okay?
This feels like a very like subtweety kind of way of being like, hey Shaun, you doing all right, bud?
But see, I don't even think that the friend is at fault in the example of this anime. Because in this example, the friend is like, always, every time you see him, is like, the badge. And then everybody gives an uproarious laughter. And so they're gonna keep doing it. And meanwhile, I'm over there being like, okay, but we have seen the badge already. Kind of loses its luster. Apparently everybody else disagrees. So they're gonna keep doing it. Which is less sad for them. Less sad for the friend with the badge, but I would say more sad for all the people laughing.
Would you believe me if I told you that this anime is responsible for improving tourism to the town it's set in?
But why?
Well, because it's an anime that got quite a decent amount of success.
I mean, technically speaking, the town it's set in is on like a fucking aircraft carrier.
Right.
If we want to get technical with it.
Right, but the town that it's the seaside town that is adjacent to the carrier itself, Owarai, I believe is how you pronounce it, has hilarious. And this was great when I was looking at up stuff for this anime. I was like, okay, girls on Panzer, it's girls in tanks. That's pretty great. You know, everybody. Hey, great concept, fantastic, wonderful. I can very easily shape this into a Pride Month episode at the last minute. It'll be fine. That's what I was looking for, primarily. And then I was like, what else is there? What else is there? Oh, it helped tourism of the town it's set in. Interesting. Because, like, hilariously, like, at the local train and the train station itself, there's, like, cutouts and decals and posters of, like, the characters from this particular anime. And, hey, it's gotten people to come and visit, and it's a nice beach town in Kanto, so, you know, might as well, you know, take advantage of it in a way.
I guess.
And not to mention that a lot of people have really enjoyed the quote-unquote Girls und Panzer das Finale Part 4. That came out, what was it? Earlier this year, I think. No, excuse me, end of last year, October of last year.
Jesus Christ.
And a lot of people were like, hey, that's much better than I thought it was going to be. And we've got 2 more movies in the pipeline to wrap up this finale.
Why did we let it get this far, guys? Why?
I think, Rem, you just don't like Japanese tourism.
Hey, man, if I had money, then I'd support Japanese tourism by visiting. But
you heard it here first. He's committed. He's going to go to Japan with me. Finally, we got him, boys. We got him.
There's a very big
We just got to get the money to do it.
Exactly, yeah. But I just think that I just think that all it has is the premise, and that's disappointing. That's I want more. I want it to be something. And
well, there is more, Rem. Obviously, there was enough to make a 6-part movie series out of it.
I wildly disagree with that. Unless the show takes some insane turns real quick, I'm not seeing it, brother.
Like the first Girls in Panzer movie won the Sanctuary Award at the Japan Movie Critic Awards in 2016.
I don't give a shit about the Wikipedia article you have open. These are meaningless to me. It's still a very shallow show, and that's okay. It's a slice of life comedy, sports anime. But it's just...
Rem, I don't have a Wikipedia article open. I copy-pasted the stuff from the Wikipedia article into my notes. It's different. It's different. I put more effort into things, right?
You're on the level of those video essayists who are able to churn out content so quickly because they are just reading Wikipedia, and it's like, oh my god, what amazing resource. And it's like, yeah, I mean, Wikipedia is a great resource. All they've done is kind of add music and voiceover to it. And acted like it's their own thoughts.
Okay, but Rem, first of all, that's probably the most insulting thing you've ever said to me. And second of all, at least I'm actually adding on to it by turning it into banter and goofs.
It's true.
My Christ. It's true. I'm presenting facts and adding on to it. How dare you, sir? I am trying to run a comedy podcast here, and you are not engaging with my goofs, and it makes me sad.
If we want to go back to goofs, we can go back to my favorite comedy of 2012, and...
That's not a comedy!
I misunderstood.
The world is in a tragic state right now. That's not comedy.
Oh,
that you've been watching too much. I'm gonna cut you off from Auntie Donna at this rate. You're too deep into the sauce, and it's coming out. It's coming out in our projects.
But yeah, nonetheless, overall, this is fine. It's a fine show. It is perfectly okay. People are gonna love it. It's like if you'd only been given like white bread your whole life, and then someone gives you a Little Caesars pizza, and you're like, holy shit, how exotic. Or like you're used to pizza, but somebody's like, have you ever tried Hawaiian pizza? And you're like, what the fuck is that? Does it have extra pepperoni? And you're like, no, it has ham and pineapple. And you're like, holy shit, fruit? didn't even know that could go on pizza. And then you make that your personality or something. Like, I don't, it's just, all it has is the gimmick. And it doesn't do a lot with it. It's just that. And I think most weebs, like, look, if you like the sound of it, yeah, watch an episode or two. Maybe you'll end up watching a lot more. It's unlikely that you will dislike it if you're into the premise. If you're wondering, what's all the hype about it? Surely there has to be more. Nope. There's not.
I mean, Rem, like, would I be struggling to give you examples of why this show matters, like a list of Wikipedia articles and such, if there wasn't more to it?
I don't believe there's more to it, Shaun. I can't believe it. I'm trying to give a good faith effort to imagine. Can't.
Maybe I'll watch the new movies and see what they have to say. Maybe those because a lot of people have said the most recent film is kicks ass, and I at this point I'm just trying to think, does it, or do the people who have already invested so much time into this franchise have a hard time seeing past the fact that it is just cute girls in tanks doing tank girl things?
I mean, weebs, they're simple creatures, all right?
Oh God! Hey, I'll at least tell you this much: this series is quite good for the people who like to write Yuri fan fiction. Lots of blank slates.
It's true. Like they give just enough where you're like, oh yeah, this is easy for me to like write some dialogue for. Just mention their like main trait they are given, and then I can flesh out the rest. Yeah, 100% easy fan fiction bait.
And folks,
and then you can draw them kissing, but in a tank though.
I mean, I don't know. Like if someone was like, "Hey, do you want to kiss me in that tank over there?" I might be enticed. I might be enticed. Like it's like I feel like the nuance of being in a tank adds a lot to it. Right?
Oh, I see. I understand.
You know, yeah, you gotta try new things as you get older. And, you know, I can proudly say that I have never kissed anybody in a tank before.
But hey, if we ever see a tank together.
Go to, like, the local military museum, be horrified at all the stuff that it's alluding to, and then be like, oh, hey, you can get inside this tank. Perfect opportunity.
It would be a lovely spot for a first kiss.
I've always wanted to romantically embrace you under the artillery shells. God, wait, wasn't there a scene like that in Cyberpunk?
Good chance.
I think there was, yeah. I think, yeah, you know, Panem. Yeah, okay, yep, I'm remembering clearly now. It's fine. Cyberpunk aside, yeah, Rem, it's pretty straightforward. We got a lot of recommendations for it because people wanted to see you look at cute girls in tanks, and a lot of people enjoy the franchise. That's the cut and dry premise of it. So with that in mind, do you have any guesses on what the MAL score for Girls und Panzer is?
Oh man, there's some rough ones lately. I'm gonna say I think it's gonna be decent. I don't think people are like, this is the greatest thing to ever exist. Some will, once again, based on premise alone. There's a temptation to go similar ballpark as my last week. Which I know I underestimated last week, but if anything, I think this week it would be more accurate. I think it's slightly good. I think it's going to be 7.6.
7.6. Okay.
Very similar to my
Rem,
guess last week, hopefully a little closer, though.
Well, Rem, Girls und Panzer has a astonishing 150,000 reviews. Quite a few. Granted, it's from 2012, so, you know, selection was limited back then. And with those 150,000 ratings, Girls und Panzer is sitting nice and pretty at 7.52.
Okay, I'll take it.
Hey, yeah, no. Genuinely, Rem, you nailed it.
Yeah.
You got the summary of everything. I watched the whole first season. I'm like, this is fun. This is all right. This is okay. But it's not. I don't think it's very life-changing, personally.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of mind-blowing. It's a full-length anime. I'll be honest. Because this.
Well, it was 2000. It was 2012.
This feels designed to be short form.
There weren't as many short form back then, unfortunately. Like it was full length series or nothing for the most part.
I mean, I guess it worked for it. I guess it worked.
Yeah, but hey, like since then they apparently figured something out with switching fully to movies. They had one successful movie and then a 6-part movie, so...
If anything, that's... I don't know, does that make more or less sense to me? I in a movie... Because what I'm imagining right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of imagining how, with, like, Scooby-Doo...
Okay.
They don't have terribly deep characters in the series, but they always spruce them up for the movies, right? They always add a little bit extra depth, some more layers for everybody. And so, like, maybe they pull a Scooby-Doo for the movies and there's just that extra depth that's needed just so they can tell a one overarching story. Maybe that's the case. I guess I think that makes more sense to me then.
Yeah, well... Tell you what, Rem, in my spare time, I'll go and watch these movies, and if I think it's worth actually coming back to talk about them, we will. Otherwise, I'll just be like, yeah, so I watched those movies, it's more of that, but with better animation, which is pretty good chance. But I will tell you that the first movie has only a third of the ratings as its 2012 counterpart, granted, 3 years later, but it also eclipses its score by just shy of like a full digit. So
yeah.
So like I don't know. There's statistically speaking, there's something interesting going on there. Whether or not it's good statistically speaking, I do not know. Since like I said, I only watched the first season. And I was just like, 12 episodes of that. It's like, yeah, all right. I'm never gonna disparage anybody for enjoying this show because I mean, you know what you're getting into, like for the most part.
Hey man, if you like this show, no qualms. If you, like, really, really love this show, then I might have a couple questions. Because I would, look, if you really, really love this show, at best, you're a super weeb. All right? That's the best case scenario, and that's a rough best case scenario.
Look, we're gonna think of our audience as like the most positive light we can, because for the most part, our audience is wonderful.
It's true.
It's just sometimes we get a few people who think we're worse than Satan.
Yes.
Which is hilarious considering a lot of the other like big content creators out there who are actually worse than Satan. Oh God. But with that in mind, Rem, I guess the final question I need to ask is there any chance you want to watch any more Girls und Panzer? Or are you just going to wait for me to waste my own time and give you an update down the line?
Yeah, I don't feel wildly compelled.
The Girls and Tanks don't do it for you?
It's fine in a very basic way.
Well, with that in mind, thank you all so much for tuning in. If you enjoy us wrapping up Pride Month in a very planned and succinct manner, then please head on over to wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if that is not enough for you, twitch.tv/animeoutofcontext, where you can watch myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally play video games very poorly, and yes, we are still playing Tokapon Kingdom. You might be thinking to yourself, hey, it's been a few weeks, nearly a few months. What's the deal? The deal is, it's a long as fuck game.
It never ends.
It never fucking ends, and like the depression, there's the euphoria to depression cycle is so goddamn strong.
Truth.
And if that is still not enough, you can head on over to patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including having the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Rem, who we thanking this week?
As always, we would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are chasing us down and drifting in their tanks after us. And on that list, we have Zombie Stomp, Xanax, Yandere Neko, Yams and Eggfest, Why Shaun, Where's Our DBZ review, you ginger fuck? Wes Kane, welcome to Anime in Full and Complete Context, the show where, watching Requiem for a Spoon Man at 0.5 speed, Utah number 1, Unhinged Tracks, Totally God's Angel. To finish this Pride Month, I shall swallow the awkward cum that was on my tongue last week. Shaun, you need to hydrate more. Jesus Christ. Titan CNH.
Fucking me.
This show is employed to be the mayor of Goontown. There once was a boy named Skipper who traded his soul for a wood chipper. One day it broke down, he replied with a frown and said, and then it cuts off mysteriously, so, we'll never know.
We'll never fucking know.
We don't get to hear what the end of that limerick is. The Susanator, the pocket big hole you need in your pocket, the flying spaghetti monster, the Danish Viking will conquer the world with Roronoa Zoro as my navigator. The capybara is showing off her acrobat skills by doing a little victory dance after every fight. Turban, Super Zoo, Stacy's mom, Spoonman loves when Rem hawk tuz on his thing, extra tu. Snaky Pie, Shrek is love, Shrek is life.
Our Patreon is so horny this week.
It's always very horny, Shaun. Shikanoko, Noko, Spoonman, man. Shaun wants to give Spoonman a thank and yank. Shaun recommend me tea, you ginger prick. Shaun make Rem watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia for a Reverse April Fool's episode and fully aware that every normal episode is a Reverse April Fool's. Shaun, you should do a manga episode, please. Shaun, we must drop kick some devils. Shaun, you ruined my happy sugar life when he got too handsy with a deer at the Nation Park and refused to apologize. Shaun had a lass that could go all night, but he got out of breath when he had to blow her up. Shaun can do these nuts. Sarah from the Shark plushie, Segoy to Kai, that's what she said. Say hi to that guy's fiance, think it's Haley. Ross Palmer, Rhiannon Williams. Remington needs to rewatch Attack on Titan at 0.75 speed to pay for his sins. Remington is right. Rem uses the drums of liberation to free all weeps from bad anime. Rem hit rock bottom, is still on top of Shaun. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows. Reject modernity, embrace tradition, please bring back the barrel. I think you left a splinter over there. Pro tips out of context, Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tan, Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tan, Shikanoko, Koshi Tan. Professor Fox, Pogwell Musico, Oni-Chi-Chi, 10 out of 10 family show, no waifu. Nick, Necrodancer 1415. My mecha is named Mecha Hi, Mecha Heini Ho. And from now on, I'm calling myself the witch from Misaka. Makeka 7 Hierto, making fake mal count so I can rate Forest Fairy 5, 10 out of 10. Macaroni Cheesehaw, Lucky Stars, the King of Moe, Link Joe Curl, Kylo, King Rich Rock, Cassidy, Jergidius, Jax, Jam Hands, Icon Scout. I'll date someone as long as they're not a normal human. I don't care if they're a boy or a girl. I will never get more Ace of the Diamond. Now I cry. I had to change my Patreon name for a podcast about dinosaurs, sorry. I can't believe I made an account for this. Hey Remington, if you want to punish Shaun, have him watch both seasons of Super Lovers for 12 Days of Xmas. There's a really short name.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't.
Here's a really short...
As somebody who watched the first 3 episodes, don't do that.
It's gonna be okay. Probably. Here's a really short name to give you a brief break from reading the really long names. Glenn Michael Dolan, Ginger Weeb, Fern the guy who did the thing that one time, Farmer Weeb's deer pun until Shikanoko, Koshi Tan, how do you let a deer know you like them, you fawn over them? Fantide, Erica McCorkle, Dwayne The Rock Johnson in a fursuit, Domo, Derpixian Worshipper, Danielle Riot, Daddy Rum Tell Me a Bedtime Story, Come Sweat and Tears, Cheese Monkey, Cat Girls Are Best Girls, so give them cute little paws, Brockhard for Geodudes, this is now an Ethos Lab fan podcast, Blake Star, Bert Bartholomew Flem, Bento Kato. Been a while since I've changed my name on here, but I got a third 4.0. Can't believe it. I'm also changing my major from funeral. Batman couldn't hate fuck that information out of me, and every day that Raven comes to visit. Amazing Muffin, All Hail Pui Pui Philosopher King, AJ Tunnels, Aishigachi, a Moe Piece of Trash, 50 Ways to Shikanoko, Kushitan, and now we move on to the Boy Wizard tier. What are they gonna get this week, Shaun?
Man, you probably couldn't have seen this one coming, Rem. I got a list of tanks for everybody.
What a surprise! And we have week 4 asking for Darling in the Franks review.
You get the Centurion.
Vincent Calabrese.
The T-54.
Umbrasite.
The M48 Patton.
That Mouse Girl.
Man, tank names are boring. The FB-4202.
Tails Williams realizes he killed the scientists.
Unfortunate. T-55.
Sporadic Silver.
The Type 61.
Silent Secondary.
M60.
Shikanoko Koshi Tan, Shikanoko Koshi Tan, Shikanoko Koshi Tan.
T-62.
Shikanoko Koshi Tan.
Leopard 1. Pretty sure this is all the same person.
Shikanoko Koshi Tan, Shikanoko Koshi Tan, Shikanoko Koshi Tan.
How about the Panzer 61?
Shikanoko Koshi Tan, Shikanoko Koshi Tan, Shikanoko Koshi Tan.
You guys are going to make him hate it before we even get to watch it. It hasn't even aired yet. You know that, right?
It hasn't even aired yet? What the fuck do you mean it hasn't even aired yet?
Yeah, no, we've gotten trailers and the OP release. It airs in July.
People are, what the fuck?
The OP
you guys
quickly
need
got
to,
very...
You need to chill the fuck out, everybody. Jesus.
MBT 70.
Shikanoko Koshi Tan, Shikanoko Koshi Tan, Shikanoko Koshi Tan.
Vickers MBT Mark 1.
Shaun, I'm coming. That's with a U, not a O, because you make me come.
Thanks for clarifying. God. How about the AMX 30?
Scourge, best $20 spent, LMAO.
I hope so. T64.
Sammy K is beautifying enough doggos to up her Patreon membership.
The FV4201 Chieftain.
Roscop.
Magok 3.
That's some hot tour right there.
Seriously.
Remington Chase Laugh is my favorite sound.
Okay, maybe it's supposed to be Strive, but it has no vowels. It's STRV103.
Pan Expert.
WZ122.
Nightshade Blade wants to gush over magical girls.
Panzer 68.
Nether Abervarin see Shaun Malin Verdenberg.
T72.
Monogatari is a fun story about chasing down the apparitions with a bit of romance and sometimes can get horrifically fucked.
The Oliphant Mark 1 and Mark 2.
Mike.
Type 74.
Miguel De Leon.
Vickers MBT Mark 3.
Latino's 432nd anime 21 was initial D 4th stage. I would fly in the sky for a night or more. Sean R 2010.
TR77580.
I ran out of funny quips, so I'll just make you say cunt weekly.
Type 80, 88, and 96 are all in one section, so I guess that's important.
Getting baked during Yam on Thanksgiving dish.
Okay, I unfortunately cannot see these two letters capitalized next to each other without thinking of something else, which is unfortunate. But you get the OF40.
Crosskirk.
T55 AL Igman.
Crimson Reapers just because of the scythes.
Oh, that might be AI Igman.
God damn it.
Look, man, it's fine. You get the T72 MM1.
Carver 271.
This is a name for a tank. The T55 Enigma.
Blood Cell here to remind you that the white blood cells are inferior. You need the red ones to tank and yank anyways.
The Ajaya Mark 1 and 2.
Beethoven 1201.
I'm a child. The Type 69.
Anonymous.
AMX 32.
Anime mashup for the week, the wrong way to use jellyfish.
Tank Argentino Mediano.
Animated Z.
Bernardini MB3 Tamoyo.
Adele and her dear friend walk out of a forest. She tells her, I'm never doing that again for $2.
Ha. Hate to break it to you, Ryan, but that's also a reference to the Shikanoko meme because
I know that there's a deer in like the thumbnail. I haven't watched the video, but many people have sent it to me, and I know there's a deer in the thumbnail of the video.
Yep.
Is the deer relevant, or is there just a deer?
It's very relevant.
Is she a deer?
Oh, yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, like, without getting into too many details, because we're gonna have to cover it. It's a gag anime manga about a deer girl.
Then why are people so fucking hyped about it? I don't understand.
Look, man, meme culture is complex, and what people latch on societally speaking, it's hard to quantify.
God damn it.
Look, that'll be great for us to dissect once we actually get there in a few weeks.
Did you give them a tank?
The TR-85.
All right, now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Shaun will name a very tactical operation that you are going to undergo, and I will tell you what that operation is. We start with Rowdy-O.
The awkward moment where I accidentally name a real horrific operation.
It's a very good chance.
Christ. Okay, your operation is gonna be Operation Good Neighbor.
So what you're gonna do is this is the operation to heist State Farm for all it's fucking got. All right. And so step 1, become Jake from State Farm. It's a very elaborate. Who knows how you do that? Maybe you kill him, maybe you don't. We're broad strokes, people. Become Jake from State Farm. Then I can't say that.
No, you cannot. You cannot, sir.
That's the whole plan.
Alright. Jake from State Farm is my favorite gender.
Next up we have Knock Knock, it's the cock.
Why? Okay, you're gonna be Operation Cold Shower.
And that operation for the next look, you need. There's gonna be no nut November, right? But we're also gonna have a no nut July just for you as well. Next up we got Remington by verbal contract will watch One Piece.
You get. Let's see. You get Operation Hasbro, 1965 edition.
Okay, I see. I get it.
Yeah. I was very pleased with that one. Thank you.
And for you, it's to be able to finally defeat your sibling and or close friend at Operation. It's you never done it before, but it's gonna happen. You just need to practice for a few hours before they come over, and then when they come over, you'll have Operation. It'll just kind of be like under a few things, but in notice, and ideally they'll bring it up, but if you have to, you'll be like, oh my god, you're crazy. Do you remember? And then you'll take it out and be like, wouldn't it be crazy if, like, oh man, I haven't played in years, but you have played in years. You've been practicing all fucking night. Next, last but not least, we got Blue Baron 15.
You get Operation, your operation is Operation Have a Nice Sandwich.
All right, so step 1, you're gonna get the bread, all right? Step 2, you're gonna chungle down on that bread. Gonna chungle down on that bread once it's sufficiently chungled, all right? That's when we need to add some sauces, all right? Whatever the sassiest sauce you have currently in your pantry. What
defines a sassy sauce?
Look, they know what they're doing. They're fucking professional. So you got a little chungle, a little bit of sass, a tomato, if just so you can kind of feel healthy about it. There we go. That's the operation.
But I don't like tomato.
Fucking lettuce, all right? Just so people don't look at it and be like, "Come on now, what are you, 8?" And you're like, "Well, I wouldn't have had the lettuce if you weren't here, to be honest." But they do the peer pressure. Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out.
And I should clarify, just raw tomato. I'm okay with it cooked.
I see. Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter, or send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Do 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 do. I want more. Come down my throat.